Welcome to another special episode of our Mandatory Mental Liberation series, produced by Baba Jalani Bomani Dembe, the founder of Majestic Mind Matters University. I'm your royal narrator, Queen Magical Melanin, for this new episode titled, Why Our Melanin-Rich Culture Men Are Leaving Churches. The necessity of the Mandatory Mental Liberation series at Majestic Mind Matters University lies in our focus on serving our melanin-rich culture communities. By addressing the importance of knowledge of self to produce greater self-awareness and advocating for our mental liberation, but especially in our precious melanin-rich culture children, our messages aims to combat the enduring effects of generational mental enslavement stemming from the historical trauma of the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. Our initiative seeks to empower us to break free from these harmful and unfavorable legacies and cultivate a deep-rooted sense of self-identity and unwavering resilience. In the melanin-rich culture community, churches have long been a central institution that has played a significant role in the social and cultural life of its members. For many generations, churches have been a place of gathering, worship, and community for melanin-rich culture individuals. It has served as a source of religious guidance, support, and strength in the face of adversity. However, in recent years, there has been a noticeable trend of our melanin-rich culture men distancing themselves from churches. Our men, who are gaining a greater understanding of self and identity, are choosing not to attend or be associated with any church. This trend can be attributed to a variety of factors. But one of the primary reasons is the realization that many traditional religious ideologies perpetuated by churches are not conducive to self-awareness and melanin-rich culture empowerment. Since churches are traditionally teaching our melanin-rich culture people to not see color, something that we possess in great abundance. One of the main reasons why our melanin-rich culture men are turning away from churches is the recognition that many religious institutions have been complicit in perpetuating systems of oppression and marginalization. Throughout history, religion has been used as a tool to justify chattel enslavement and other forms of exploitation of our melanin-rich culture people. The unfavorable legacy of these injustices continues to impact our melanin-rich culture communities today. Furthermore, our melanin-rich culture men are questioning the relevance of traditional religious beliefs and practices in their lives, challenging the notion that salvation can only be achieved through adherence to specific dogmas and rituals, and are seeking more holistic and cultural spiritual paths that honor the melanin-rich culture heritage and identity. In addition, there is a growing awareness among our melanin-rich culture men of the need to reclaim the narratives and histories that have been distorted and suppressed by dominant religious institutions. Many are exploring alternative spiritual traditions that are grounded in melanin-rich culture wisdom, such as Afrocentric spirituality, Kemetic teachings, and other indigenous knowledge systems that celebrate melanin-rich culture identity and resilience. In recent years, there has been a growing awareness and recognition among melanin-rich culture men of the need to reclaim the narratives and histories that have been stolen, distorted, and suppressed by dominant religious institutions. Many are seeking true spiritual traditions that are grounded in melanin-rich culture wisdom, such as Afrocentric spirituality, Kemetic teachings, and other indigenous knowledge systems that celebrate melanin-rich culture identity and resilience. For centuries, the dominant religious institutions have perpetuated narratives that degrade and devalue our melanin-rich culture men, portraying them as inferior and unworthy. These institutions have imposed their beliefs and practices on our melanin-rich culture people, erasing our own spirituality and traditions. This erasure has had profound effects on our sense of self-worth and identity, leading many of us to internalize negative beliefs about ourselves and our heritage. In response to this erasure, theft, and distortion of our histories, many melanin-rich culture men are turning to Afrocentric spirituality, Kemetic teachings, and other indigenous knowledge systems that affirm and celebrate melanin-rich culture identity. These spiritual traditions are rooted in the ancient wisdom and practices of our ancestors, offering a powerful counter-narrative to the oppressive ideologies of dominant religious institutions. Afrocentric spirituality, for example, emphasizes the interconnectedness of all living beings and the importance of honoring our ancestors and their wisdom. It recognizes the sacredness of our melanin-rich culture traditions and practices and seeks to reclaim and revitalize them in a way that is empowering and liberating. By embracing our Afrocentric spirituality, melanin-rich culture men are able to connect with the roots and rediscover the strength and resilience of the ancestors. Similarly, Kemetic teachings, based on our ancient Egyptian civilization, offer a rich and spiritual tradition that celebrates the beauty and richness of our melanin-rich culture heritage. These teachings emphasize the importance of living in harmony with the natural world, honoring the gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt, and seeking spiritual enlightenment through meditation, ritual, and devotion. By studying and practicing Kemetic teachings, our melanin-rich culture men are able to connect with a spiritual tradition that is uniquely their own, and that honors our cultural heritage in a way that is empowering and affirming. In reclaiming our own narratives and histories through Afrocentric spirituality, Kemetic teachings, and other indigenous knowledge systems, our melanin-rich culture men are asserting their right to self-determination and self-expression. By embracing these spiritual traditions, they are able to reclaim power, agency, and dignity in a world that has sought to erase and diminish melanin-rich culture men. The growing awareness among our melanin-rich culture men of the need to reclaim melanin-rich culture narratives and histories is a powerful and transformative movement that is reshaping the understanding of spirituality, identity of self, and resilience. By embracing Afrocentric spirituality, Kemetic teachings, and other indigenous knowledge systems, reconnecting with our Alkebulan roots, honor our ancestors, and celebrate the beauty and richness of our melanin-rich culture heritage. This reclaiming of spiritual traditions is not only an act of resistance against the oppressive forces that seek to erase us, but also a celebration of our strength, resilience, and powerfully enduring spirit. Moreover, the rise of social media and online communities has allowed melanin-rich culture men to connect with like-minded individuals who are also questioning the role of the churches in their lives. These virtual spaces provide a platform for discussions on issues of self-knowledge, faith, spirituality, and identity, and offer support for those who are seeking to redefine their relationship with true spirituality. It is important to acknowledge that the decision to distance themselves from churches is a deeply personal choice and should be respected as such. Melanin-rich culture men are finding empowerment and validation in exploring alternative spiritual paths that resonate with lived experiences and true cultural heritage. In recent years, there has been a notable trend of our melanin-rich culture men turning away from traditional churches and religious institutions. One of the main reasons for this shift can be attributed to the recognition that many religious institutions have been complicit in perpetuating systems of oppression and marginalization. Throughout history, religion has been used as a tool to justify chattel enslavement and other forms of exploitation of our melanin-rich culture people. The unfavorable legacy of these injustices continues to impact our melanin-rich culture communities today, to include involuntary servitude in the form of the mass incarceration of our melanin-rich culture people. One of the key factors driving melanin-rich culture men away from churches is the deep-seated distrust and disillusionment with religious institutions that have historically upheld systems of oppression and discrimination. For centuries, religion has been used to justify the subjugation and exploitation of our melanin-rich culture people, particularly during the era of chattel enslavement. The Bible was often misinterpreted and misused to promote racist ideologies and justify the chattel enslavement of our melanin-rich culture ancestors. Many churches and religious leaders were complicit in this exploitation, either turning a blind eye to the injustice or actively participating in the oppression of melanin-rich culture communities. Furthermore, the unfavorable legacy of these historical injustices continues to impact our melanin-rich culture communities today, mentally overall. The mass incarceration of our melanin-rich culture people in the United States is a stark example of how systems of oppression and marginalization are perpetuated through religious institutions. Studies have shown that we are disproportionately targeted and sentenced to harsher penalties compared to white counterparts, leading to a cycle of incarceration and disenfranchisement within our melanin-rich culture communities. Despite these glaring disparities, many churches have remained silent on issues of racial injustice and have failed to actively advocate for the rights and liberation of any melanin-rich culture people. Moreover, the disconnect between traditional religious teachings and the realities of melanin-rich culture experiences has also contributed to the alienation of melanin-rich culture men from churches. Many mainstream religious institutions have failed to address the unique challenges faced by melanin-rich culture communities, instead perpetuating a narrative of colorblindness and individual responsibility. Whereas colorblindness is another covert way to say they really don't want to nor care to see us. This refusal to acknowledge the systemic nature of racism and discrimination further distances melanin-rich culture men from organized religion, seeking spiritual spaces that affirm self-identities and experiences. In response to these shortcomings, many melanin-rich culture men are turning towards forms of true spirituality and melanin-rich culture community building that center on liberation and social justice. Movements such as Black Lives Matter have emerged as powerful platforms for melanin-rich culture individuals to advocate for rights and challenge systems of oppression. The recognition of religious complicity in systems of oppression and marginalization has played a significant role in driving melanin-rich culture men away from churches. The unfavorable legacy of exploiting our melanin-rich culture people through religion, coupled with the failure of mainstream religious institutions to address issues of racial injustice, has created a sense of disillusionment and disconnection among our melanin-rich culture communities. In conclusion, the trend of our melanin-rich culture men moving away from the churches reflects a broader shift towards self-awareness, empowerment, and the reclaiming of their powerful melanin-rich culture identity. By challenging oppressive religious ideologies and seeking more affirming spiritual paths, melanin-rich culture men are reclaiming agency and autonomy in shaping their own narratives and futures. Yes, churches played a central role in the past, such as allowing us to communicate privately, to help each other gain freedom from chattel enslavement. But for our melanin-rich culture men, today, the path to self-empowerment lies in forging new spiritual connections that honor and celebrate our melanin-rich culture heritage. I'm your royal narrator, Queen Magical Melanin. We trust that you have expanded your understanding through the insights shared by Baba Jelani Bomani Dembe, founder of Majestic Mind Matters University, in our mandatory mental liberation series message titled, Why Our Melanin-Rich Culture Men Are Leaving Churches. Remember this, it is essential to honor the ancestors. We have a unique connection to the ancestors. They endured many unwarranted struggles, preserved our melanin-rich culture, and passed down invaluable wisdom through many generations. By honoring the ancestors, we pay honorable tribute to our roots and draw great strength and much-needed inspiration from the unwavering resilience and royal legacy that has paved the way for our present and future generations. Ancestral reverence is a powerful way for us to continually uphold our own melanin-rich identity, heritage, and cultural legacy. Here is an ancient Alkebulan proverb to keep in mind. If you think you are too small to make a difference, you have not spent the night with a mosquito. Remember this as well, whenever you are in the presence of anyone, saying, they don't see color, it actually means, they don't see you. As a member of our melanin-rich culture, you must strive for knowledge of self for greater personal awareness. Always treat yourself kindly and seek to live a totally awesome and gloriously fulfilling melanin-rich culture life. So, like, subscribe, and share this very special melanin-rich culture link with everyone that you care about and that really cares about you and all of yours as well, and thank you for listening. Ashe.